Hey everyone, Daz here, owner of New You Online Coaching, and we work with busy working professionals to help you lose some weight, get back in shape and improve your energy levels. And in this video, part of our Feel Good Friday series, I'm talking to you about the importance of going slow. Now, that may not resonate with a lot of people. We live in an instant gratification society now where everything that we want needs to happen fast. And I don't want to sound like I'm the bearer of bad news, but I have to say to clients, look, if it's taken you months and in some cases years to get out of shape and overweight, what makes you think that you can reverse that in a matter of days, weeks and months? Most of the time, what I do with the clients that I speak to is I find out where they're at, I find out where they'd like to get, and then I can potentially signpost how long it might take to get there if you do everything the way that we kind of recommend you to do it. And in fact, with our main program, our Sustainable Fitness Solution, our 3-month program, in a lot of cases, I can't promise you that we're going to get you to the finish line or your target kind of end goal in the 3 months. But what I can tell you is that we're going to build those habits, we're going to create that sustainable, healthy lifestyle, that mindset change, and we're going to get you doing all of the things that you need to be doing now so that you can continue to make those improvements. So that at the end of the 3 months, you have a choice whether you either carry on with us because you like the motivation and the accountability, or you can carry on doing it on your own. And in most cases, that 3-month program is not necessarily a means to an end, but it is a springboard for a sustainable, healthy lifestyle that will probably get where you want to get to if you continue doing all the good things in maybe 6 to 12 months time, depending on your start point. So that's something that I really echo over and over again to our clients, is start slow. Now, one of the analogies that I use to help people understand this is this concept of like climbing Mount Everest. And if you've ever seen what is involved in doing that, you'll see that the climbers have to go slow. They have to spend time at base camp, and then they have to spend time at the next camp, and they gradually work their way up to the mountain. And the reason that they do that is because the body needs to have time to adapt to the stress that you're placing on it. The higher you climb, the lower the concentration of oxygen. And if you try and rush that process, if you try and go too fast, you're going to shock the body and it won't be able to adapt, and you're going to have to come back down the mountain. And it's the same thing with exercise stress. Obviously, we're not reducing the concentration of oxygen, but we are putting some new stresses on the body that it may not be adapted to. So if you go too fast, your body's going to go into survival mode. It's going to put in place a lot of barriers to stop you from adapting. Whereas if you do it slowly and gradually, your body can gradually get used to the imposed demands that you're placing on it, and recognize that actually this is not a danger or threat to its survival, and it will allow those processes to continue. And actually, in my own personal experience, I found that was the case when I was trying to increase my muscle mass as a student. And I remember for the first year, I was without question on a calorie surplus. I was training in the gym 3 or 4 times a week at least, training hard, and I don't really feel that I got many adaptations at that point. I think my body was just very stubborn to adapt, but I kept going, and after a year, I remember there was a summer period where I was actually, for whatever reason, I decided not to go back to my parents, and I stayed at the university. I was working and I trained throughout the summer, and I remember everyone came back and paid attention and said, "Daz, oh my God, what have you done this summer? You look so much bigger." And the reality is, I hadn't changed my training, I hadn't changed my diet. I think what had happened is I'd slowly arm wrestled my body into submission, and I'd allowed it to finally adapt to that imposed demand that I was placing on it, with a calorie surplus, with a consistent regimented exercise regime. And slowly my body allowed myself to adapt to those stresses. And it wasn't until year 2 that all of the gains started to happen. And I think if I hadn't been patient and I hadn't kept at it and I'd stopped after a year, I wouldn't have made those changes. But at the end of the day, as a result of that process, I actually went into uni at 55 kilos, and I came out 3 years later at 80 kilos. And that's all because I started slow.